Okay, today I'm going to show you, this is going to be a basic video on how to use your watercolors and how to apply them onto the brush. A lot of people do watercolors and they tell me that they put too much water in their brushes and it doesn't come out just right. So today we're going to concentrate strictly on how to load your brush, how to use the watercolors, and how to apply it to your paper, okay? So we're going to take a simple shape like a pear, and I've traced it with a pencil. It's just simple. You can do an apple, whatever you want. So what I'm doing is I'm using the largest brush I can actually use to cover my surface. If you use a brush that's too small, you're going to have a lot of stroke works. But if you use a brush that's big enough, you'll have less stroke works and it will be easier to use on your paper. I'm using one of the silver brushes, Monza 1/2 inch glaze brush. You can use any flat brush you have. So what I do is I wet my brush. I don't pre-wet my paints. A lot of people spray their paints. For this purpose, we're not gonna pre-spray our paints. My paints are dry and I have like a light yellow, a red, an orange and a brown on my palette, which is kind of standard colors that I use. But you can use any colors you have at home. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet my brush and I'm going to tap it on my paper towel. Don't wipe it. Don't go like this, because now what you did is you took all the moisture out of your brush. So you don't want to do that. So I wet my brush, I tap it, and I'm going to take a little bit of this dark brown, this dark yellow, sorry. And I'm just going to wet and see how it goes on here. If I'm pushing my brush too hard and I see some of that white showing, that means I don't have a lot of water in my brush or enough water. So I'll just pick up a little drop of water and move that paint around. See how nice that's starting to look? And I'm going in big strokes and I'm not worrying about making everything even. So right around here, I see that my brush is starting to pull. See that? There's hardly any paint coming out. Time to reload. I'm going to rinse my brush, tap it again lightly, take that little dark yellow again, and come around here. And it doesn't matter if the bottom is dark and the top is light. I'm just right now putting color in here. And I'm going to leave myself a little white area there. That's going to be my highlight. Now, a lot of people take a flat brush and do this on their painting. See how that creates marks? You don't want that. A flat brush is meant to be used flat. Think of it as a broom. You're gonna do it flat, right? So now we have a basic shape. I rinse my brush again because the rest of my paints are dry. And I'm going to take a little bit of this burnt sienna that I have here and mix it with a little bit of that yellow. And I'm going to come here and go over my pear in long strokes. See that? I'm not going strokes like this. I'm going long strokes. And go in the shape of your pear. If your pear is round on the bottom, see I'm flat, then it's round on the bottom. And it has a little round little post right there, so I'm going to make that round. Without a lot of effort, you can make a nice painting. And don't worry about the pencil lines. Those are totally acceptable. I'm going to rinse my brush. And this is just a little tutorial on to how to use your watercolors. If you have too much paint or you went over the lines, clean your brush and just take clean water and wipe it off. Okay, now I'm going to rinse my brush again, and I'm going to take some of my green for my leaf, right? And I'm going to come here and flat turn my brush towards me. See that? And I have a leaf. And I have a stem. Now you can use your brush straight. I'm not going to rinse my brush out since that burnt sienna is already wet. I'm going to take advantage of it, and I'm going to come back here and just put a little bit of that color on here to darken my leaf. For the bottom, we want to make sure that we have a little shade right around here. So a lot of people make the mistake of making it brown or I don't know, gray. I like to use mine either purple or blue when I'm doing watercolors. So I'm just gonna come here very light and go around my pear and shade with a little bit of that blue, almost transparent that you can't see it. I'm gonna rinse my brush and I'm gonna check over here to see if I need anything. My brown is still wet, right? So I'm gonna take my brown and I'm gonna darken this area just a tad, and see how my brush is flat? Come here. Tomorrow when the paint is dry, you can erase your lines if you want. You don't have to. If you have too much paint here, let's say you don't like that, just take some clean water with your brush and wipe it off. See, I don't like that white line there, so I'm just gonna brush it off and it comes right off. Is it that cool or what? And on the bottom, pears have like a little pimple or something like that. So I'm just gonna come here, brush it on, wipe my brush dry, and I'm gonna flat again, move that little brown paint around, and now you have yourself a pear. So those are kind of like the basic steps on how to use your watercolors, and I've done all of this with just one brush. And I'm gonna tap it again, take a little bit more of my blue, and I'm gonna come right underneath here closer to the pear and make that a little bit darker and just let it be. See how I'm not going over it? And now you have a nice little pear painting. So hold on to this tutorial. This is free. This is a reference for you to look at when you're doing your watercolors. And if you like any of the videos, just shoot me an email, chriscruzdesigns@gmail.com, and let me know how you liked it. Thank you for watching.